Hi, my name is Antanas Shukri, and the product owner of this project is Dr. Masood Sajjadi, and I'm here to talk to you about the time zone table in our project. So, the user story I was tasked with this sprint was to figure out how to get the time zones of our servers, and all the functionality there is done. And by done, I would say done in a bare bones fashion because there are a lot of things that could get in the way, like daylight savings, which makes things weird. But the retrieving the UTC time and the server time and comparing them is done in terms of functionality. So there is a reservation with the way that I'm getting the UTC time, and it's because, and I'll show you here, is that in Oanda, for our project, if we're using the Jira servers, so you see here we have the local host. For my solution, we have to add a URL, and I'm not sure if that's okay because we're already doing it for our project, or if we want to refrain adding anything but localhost in this case, since I'm running it locally, or our Jira page, our Jira server, wherever we're hosting it. So I need to talk to the professor about that. But besides that, I just wanted to get it done in terms of functionality first so I could get everything working and make sure it's possible. So with the database as well. So we have to create, and I'm not sure if this is what the professor meant already when he assigned this user story to me. We have to create a table with every time zone already in it, because if, let's say we're checking the offset and we see that the offset is 4 hours, we need to cross-reference that offset with a table filled with all the time zones already, so we can know what time zone corresponds to that offset, as opposed to checking if that offset already exists and then adding it, because we can't just add it if we don't know what the time zone is. Correct? So I was thinking, so we have our offset, and then we have the time zone, which would be a primary key, which would be linked to, and here are the tables we already have, right? So this is what I wanted to discuss with UE before I actually implemented it. I already have the SQL code ready and to go with just minimal changes needing to be done once I decide exactly how I want to do this. So in this is the EFRT database, and here we have the login, and this is where there's an instance of servers showing up in the schema. And I actually think the best place to put it, because see, here we have in the login, we also have the server here, and then account information. This might be a good place to link our tables. I'm not sure if we're going to have it in multiple databases, but we can have the account information and then the server and then the time zone that this account usually uses or that is currently assigned to it. And then here we have the MT4 database, which is where I think we can end up putting this table if we end up putting it only in one place. I'm not sure if our tables have a way to communicate information with each other, but I don't think so at the moment. But anyways, here we could have, I believe, the MT4 server table in this database excuse me, has the ID of the server, the name, and things like that, and then this is where we can add a time zone column here, and then it will be associated with the server and the server ID, and then we'll have the table, as you saw here. The primary key will link to the foreign key in that table, and then that'll be it. So just to show you some functionality before moving on. So if we click, it should not be named Google Test. We can refresh the scripts here. So the UTC offset, I have it here just for simplicity to show all the functionality of it. So we're getting the entire amount of information, and then we're parsing it. The UTC hour is 5. It's 5:17 and 43 seconds right now. And the server hour is 0, 0, and 1 just because the server has closed for the weekend, and I apologize for the tardiness, but I didn't make this video in time for that to be working. But I can assure you that it does work. And then here you would see the offset. If it's ahead, it'll say it's ahead by 5 hours. So here it's ahead by 5 hours since it's 0. And then let's say the time was 8 p.m. and then UTC was 10 p.m. It would say UTC time is behind server time by, and I forgot the numbers already, but let's say 2 hours, however much it was. So it's all set up. All the database, all the daylight saving stuff is still going to need to be done, but the basic functionality is pretty much there. And so all of it's there. I didn't get a chance to work with UE as much as I would have liked for this one, so I didn't want to mess too much. Like I said, I have the SQL code ready, I have everything ready, like the tables and everything to be created with minor adjustments based on where we're putting them. But another thing is that, so this was my user story, and I believe I could say it's done to retrieve the UTC time and compare it to system time. That's pretty much done. And then tier C, again, sorry I'm going off. We have the list of UTC times and the offsets and the places that use it, so we can populate our time zone table with all this information. And then this is another thing that I need to work on for next sprint. So I did not follow these conventions exactly, so I still need to, I mostly worked on the functionality in this sprint. So I did creating the tables, the SQL scripts, things like that. So I need to create the API calls in this fashion. I need to do the stored make it as a stored procedure and things like that. And so here you can see I'm going to talk about some future user stories, and I will be making separate videos for these, obviously, of course, as well. So in this upcoming sprint, I believe that the following would be best. Create the actual time zone table and populate it, and then create the web API stored procedures and everything following the standard, the set standards, sorry. And then these functions here. So is time zone registered function to future-proof this. Let's say a new time zone's created with a new offset or something like that, or something changes. We will, if the offset isn't there, if the name isn't there, well, we wouldn't know about the name, but we would be able to see. We would figure something out with that, but it'll check if the time zone in the table and then register it if not. Say we missed one when we were populating it. So one for checking if a server name has a time zone registered to it, to see if the servers we currently have in our list have a time zone that corresponds to it, and then set server time zone function to finally set the time zone to that server. And so I have, see, these were the other backstories already. In the backlog, the other user stories, we have the implement is server time zone registered, set server, but I think we need to change this one a little bit. But I will make videos for those as well, and then hopefully everything looks good for this functionality here. We can talk about that as well. So finally, here is for anyone in the future watching this video, you can email me at this email, and then the product owner, of course, is Dr. Sajjadi, and you can email him if you have any questions on this as well. Thank you,